What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another late night, another epic in its own right, sort of, sci-fi thriller, if you will. The premise of this film is fantastic. I'm pretty sure modern filmmaking sort of has replicated this concept, but we will be watching 1966 Seconds. It is a fantastic premise. Might I add that again? That's just about enough to pique my interest and to sort of watch it with everyone. I'm not so sure if everybody if you know about this film, if you have seen the film, if it's your first time, we're gonna go into this together. But yeah, I'm excited to be watching another black and white film from the 60s. And, let's get into it. Without any further delay, let's get into the picture, because, Captain, we are Ego. That's just too appropriate of an opening. The distortion of one person becoming another, just by the score and the premise alone. It's fantastic opening. Of course. Titles by Saul Bass. So appropriate. He is so good at these opening sequences. All these close-ups of these sort of body parts and it being distorted. It's fantastic. It sort of gets into, I'm assuming the psychology of it all. What a great representation for, like, foreshadowing. The titles foreshadows what we're gonna see, but it's just enough to pique your interest and to hide what the entire story is about. I don't know, when I just saw the sign that said 2046, I was thinking about the Wong Kar-wai film that he had called 2046. That's it, just an address, and I'm assuming that address either means something to him, that he's overly perspirating. But yeah, strange beginning, strange opening, and beginning of the film, but very intriguing.
Scarsdale is next. Scarsdale is next.
Until the train operators, mentioned what station is next, it almost seemed like you don't know what direction you're going, backwards or forwards.
I heard you pacing around in the study afterward till almost 2.
Just a crazy prank. Look, Emily, it was nothing.
Okay, I like that. That's there's information that we're not privy to that's sort of affecting our main character that happened before the film started. Kind of an interesting thing to the audience.
Art, it's me again. Arthur? Arthur!
Clearly more than a prank, because it's bothering him.
We're both wearing the same kind of wristwatch. Remember we gave them to each other after winning the doubles at Princeton?
Yes.
Okay. Take the doubles trophy there and turn it over.
Oh, there will probably be an inscription that he knows of.
Can't be, Charlie. You just don't come back.
I'm alive. More alive than I've been in the past 25 years. You've got to come tomorrow.
More alive than I've been in the past 25 years. Either his body was resurrected or something.
Is it that cold again?
No. Stop cross-examining me every time the phone rings. Understand?
Perfectly.
I'm, sorry.
I was led to believe that they were on the same bed as opposed to a separate bed. And one more thing. All the camera angles, specifically on him, they're shockingly up close. Some out of focus, some in focus. He is an intellectual man, clearly a bright person who came from Princeton. He's probably a lawyer because he said cross-examining, so whatever he's going to get into, and clearly by the intrigue of Charlie, who he thought probably was dead, he doesn't know what to think.
Where?
Should your equity
Should your equity increase, do not hesitate to call on us for a personal reappraisal, etc., etc. Standard closing.
Yes, sir.
Oh wow, he's vice president. At least the small little plaque, and if not law, he's probably in banking. So we don't. I cannot tell for certain what his profession is, but he's so disturbed that as we are intrigued.
They aren't here anymore. I got it wrote down.
Thank you.
They seem to be just a midpoint, and they seem to know something. Where this place is, I'm assuming the place is so, like exclusive and hidden that you go to multiple points just to get to this location.
Would you step in, please, sir?
I'd much prefer to ride in front if you don't mind.
I'm sorry, sir. The customers are asked to ride in the back.
Customers. Sort of high-profile customers, I'm assuming. No labels on any of the doors. It's completely blank.
There we go.
So they knew he was coming. They addressed him as Wilson. At this point, what can you trust? He has no power to do anything. He didn't come here by his own transportation. He was transported here, so everything seems quite suspect. And the tea was most likely laced with something. The honest Arnie coat and top hat are gone. I had a very disturbing, distorted dream. Maybe it was a dream within a dream. But what could have triggered that dream? Was it his desire or whatever have you? A lot of questions.
Excuse me? I was wondering if you could... Excuse me. I'm trying to find...
That's enough to be concerned. Nobody's answering you. Everybody seems robotic.
Thank you.
This whole thing is giving the vibe of an experimental laboratory.
My name is Ruby. I've been assigned to go over the circumstances of your death with you.
What?
Oh, I know this seems rather strange to you. That's why I'm here. You probably have a lot of questions. Well, of course, the subject might appear indelicate, but most of our clients inure them.
Now, get this straight. I am not a client.
Oh, precisely, Mr. Wilson. You are not a client yet.
Not a client yet, and they're discussing his death. What is going on? What did he sign?
CPS has to provide a fresh corpse that perfectly matches your physical dimensions and medical specifications.
CPS?
Oh, cadaver procurement section.
They're gonna place somebody's face, somebody dead on him. $30,000. Wow.
Oh, the whole thing must be very carefully staged. We guarantee a death of this kind. Excuse me. Delicious. They have a wonderful way of baking cheese on it so that it gets very crispy. Now,
It's always, disturbing how sort of matter of fact this Dr. Ruby is talking about all of this. As if he's just purchasing something, substantial, but it's just strange.
there's so much else to be done, Mr. Wilson, but if I may say so, the question of death selection may be the most important decision in your life.
It's a decision, your death selection, of course. It's like these high profile people, it's a choice, like it's a career choice, but to be reborn into a new person.
Very liberal settlements on your wife and daughter, and more than sufficient funds for your financial needs and your new identity from sums assigned to us as your trustees. Insurance policies, annuities, real estate.
So if they know so much about him, why still go under the pseudonym Wilson?
Of course, the photographies are not too professional, but I think it's clear enough.
You are kidding me. It was not a dream. It was reality. And I don't understand. Sort of a company extorting you to transform your life, but they're also benefactors of, a huge sum of the money for this transformation, but very, very odd.
I can never go back.
Fact is, you really don't want to go back.
Wow.
Sakes, boy, you owe yourself this thing. Rebirth, life again, begin again, all new, all different.
That was a creepy line. It's easier to move forward when you know you can't go backward.
We get along.
What does that mean?
As my daughter.
Hmm?
We don't see much of her, actually.
He's giving more reason for himself to go through this transformation. He just skimmed past his wife. Besides, we get along.
I leave Emily pretty much alone to do what she, We get along, as I said. We hardly ever quarrel. Not that that's any measure of our lives.
Very, very accurate. I mean, just by the small scene of her picking him up, life is robotic. It's a routine for him.
So this is what happens to the dreams of youth. Go on, son, let it out. Nothing to be ashamed of. Let it out.
It's so strange. It seems like the doctors and these people know him so well that they know the decision he's gonna make. He wants to make the decision because he seems like he's at the end of the rope of his own life. As soon as he grabbed his pen, they grabbed their pen. Complete cosmetic surgery and reborn into a younger man. He is still the same age, so let's suppose Arthur coming in is 50-something. His entire facial feature would resemble that of an early 30-year-old, except he would still be living as a 50-year-old. But just more opportunity to realize his youth.
Yes, those two. Fingerprints. Mr. Wilson, even your signature. Little thing we did with the tensor ligaments of the hand.
That's just incredible. The doctors themselves, as they mentioned, that it was a sort of a breakthrough to do such an extensive rebirth of basically a Frankenstein, creating a new man with old memories, old experiences.
Easy does it. You'll be all right, son.
Oh my, a tear. You could just imagine what he's feeling. How much he has given up, but also how much he sort of gains by this.
I guess I'd like to paint stuff.
Pictures?
Pictures and things.
Well, I think the creative wish pattern is pretty self-evident.
What a complete career change. But again, the tennis sort of reflected from the picture of him and Charlie.
These diplomas from reputable universities, they can't be forged.
Mr. Wilson, I assure you, every item is bona fide and valid.
How? How?
You are alone in the world, absolved of all responsibility except to your own interest.
That's a fresh start if I have ever heard it.
And remember, you've got what almost every middle-aged man in America would like to have. Freedom. Real freedom.
Real freedom. He would be self-conscious, noticing so much more attention to his younger self. How long would it take you to get used to a new look?
Uh-oh, I am late. Now, if I didn't have to catch me a plane, I'd make you buy me a drink, by God. See you soon. Gotta run.
I'm assuming he is speaking to the actual Wilson whose body they used for his transplant.
How long will you be here?
John, sir, for as long as you need me. The company is fully aware that you may have problems at first and will spare no effort to help you solve them.
Thank you.
The company. The company doesn't even have a name. And it would again, I would assume he would be on constant surveillance. Reports would be given back to the company on his sort of acclimation with his new body. But what is in it for the company besides, it becomes a more valuable product to potential middle-aged men. He becomes a case report for the success of it. So there is actually something in it for them.
Perhaps you'd like to give a small cocktail party for the immediate neighbors.
Oh, well, I'd better get myself used to things first. Later on, maybe.
As you wish, sir.
It sort of gives credence to the phrase, feel comfortable in your own skin. Except this time it's somebody else's skin. Smart what they're doing with the mirrors. But with this, there is no going back. That's so he has to become completely fine with his decision. The fact that he has memories and experiences from his past life. That's the sort of hanging point that could drive him off the wall. I think the profession part is probably the hardest to pick up, because to be able to convince somebody else, let's say if he does get a significant other, that he is proficient in a vocation or a painting or tennis at his given age currently, that's a hard thing to do. He has a lot of catching up to do.
I'm Nora Marcus.
I'm Tony Wilson.
It took him a pause to say his name, but who knows again, if this female, this person is a plant, whether she went through the same operation as he did, it's all up in the air.
What did you ask?
Oh, a tough one. Who and what is Tony Wilson?
And what did it say?
It told me to mind my own business.
Wow. That's just about the right answer.
I don't expect you to understand.
I think I do.
You? An artist? Why should you understand? You spent your whole life being.
You don't know anything about me, really.
Did she confirm whether she went through the surgery or she just left?
Somewhere in the land, there is still a key unturned.
That's quite an analysis.
Not really. When you come to think of it, it sort of fits everybody.
Exactly. Very general.
I'm going to Santa Barbara tomorrow. There's a kind of gathering.
Can I come?
It's going to be very wild.
Maybe that's part of turning the key.
Okay, that was quick enough to go from, sort of isolation into a gathering.
Thank you, John.
Oh, Mr. Wilson. May I present Mr. and Mrs. Lloyd? This is your host, Mr. Wilson. Mr.
Look at that. So comfortable. Now the neighbors are invited. At the stomping of the grapes, the key was unlocked. Or it would seem like it. Until something is going to happen. Something is going to happen from his past.
Tony, please ease up.
Why?
Because it's not like you.
Oh, I know that.
That was a strange comment. It's not like you.
Sorry.
It's again. It's almost like the neighbors, her, Nora. They all know Arthur to an extent. It's all a project.
He's a lawyer. Harvard, I want you to know.
Really? Hey, that's a coincidence. No, look,
Thank you.
Me too. In fact, me too twice.
Hollow leg again.
Oh, will you listen? That only makes me look like a piker, a veritable piker. Henry, you sneaking two-face, you.
Private joke.
Sneaking two-face. Harvard lawyer. He was going to say that there was something. He was going to pinpoint on something about that. So, some things are starting to creep back up.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Seems like I'm doing everything wrong lately.
Now don't pout. Mama will make everything better.
Oh, the way they're looking at each other.
Perfect. Say.
Fascinating to see him under the influence right now while everybody isn't.
Resistless, our team sweeps goalward. With the fury of the blast, we'll fight for the name of Harvard till the last white line is passed.
This is not good for them, for the company, because, past experiences are starting to bubble back up, and he still has memory of his past life.
I'll stand right here on my constitutional rights. I'm not a grandfather. Why are you all staring at me like that? Hey, John.
Under normal circumstances, this would be frightening. But, you know, the truth comes out one way or the other.
Just who the hell do you think you are?
Oh, no.
What a great contrast between this revelation that he's living in a complete, you know, cultish society or neighborhood while this music is playing. It's a nightmare.
I want you to promise to stay put until we can get someone to you. You've got to have some help right now. Please, will you do it? Will you stay there? Please.
Please, will you stay there? It's almost like the company has a contract with these people, and if they sort of break it, it jeopardizes the company and jeopardizes everybody's stake, because the company has that information where they can extort each and every one of them as a insurance, as it was, you know, explained early on. So there's that for everybody to sort of keep everybody in check. As in, let's not make the company mad, and let's just go along with this plan. Nora being a plant, an employee, also makes things even worse for Arthur, and sort of don't really blame him for wanting to go back. He's looking at a picture of a dead man.
Thank you. I didn't mean to barge in.
Oh, not at all. It was very kind of you. I must have sounded strange over the phone, but you see, Arthur never mentioned...
Well, I just met your late husband last year, shortly before...
Yes, please, sit down.
Will he decide to tell her the truth? How will she take it, if he does say it? How would you even begin to tell the truth? It will break the marriage.
Your husband talked a lot about this house, about his family. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stir up painful memories.
No. No, it's not that. It's just that... I never knew Arthur to do that very much.
Okay. He's hearing stuff about himself, and he has the opportunity to now sort of rewrite Arthur's character.
I never knew what he wanted. And I don't think he ever knew.
Oh, boy. Well, when he made the decision to change his life, he was, I don't know if he knew what he wanted.
I really should be going.
Well, I hope I've been some help.
I don't know what kind of a help. How could this have helped Tony Wilson, aka Arthur Hamilton, to know that he was... Silence was what he's remembered for, that she considered him dead before she was officially on paper dead. You know, what could this do for his current character?
You said that you wanted a memento. It won't be a painting, I'm afraid, but it's all I have.
Cool. And the memento just happened to be the catalyst to get him to go to that 34 address.
I want to go back.
Of course, sir.
No, I don't mean California.
I want to go back to being Arthur. What a dilemma. What a dilemma. He's in the middle. He's stuck in the middle.
I'm not the least bit sorry, because there were certain mistakes made in my case, and
Of course, but before we go into all that, let me ask you whether you can recommend and sponsor a new client. with someone in your acquaintance outside whom you feel would benefit by the company's services. You were sponsored yourself, you know.
By Charlie.
Hold it. Hold it. That's it. Backfield.
What is this, preliminary for surgery?
Certainly, Mr. Wilson. A year's going by. A lot happens to the human body in a year.
In a year? Okay, so he is... Apparently a year has passed. That's quite a bit. And according to them, yeah, the physical body changes a lot. There's a sneaky suspicion that that is Charlie.
Hard to recognize somebody and not recognize him at the same time.
Tell me, that's... Wait. Oh, man. It's perfectly acted. The amount of confusion that they would have at this point. Rock Hudson does a really good job.
And California was the same. They made the same decisions for me all over again, and they were the same things, really.
Well, you can change the outer appearance, but the inner desires, it still stayed the same. And this is no point of course correction if his inner self, his inner man, isn't changed.
I have the feeling you're going to make it this time.
Sorry to disappoint the rest of you. Perhaps tomorrow.
Something very sad about that interaction. If their first attempt doesn't work, they go through another attempt, another attempt, another attempt.
All those people, no idea what a financial responsibility it turned into. Heck, we make mistakes, but we admit them and go forward. I won't see it in my lifetime, but some of the younger execs like Ruby may. Oh, you can call it wishful thinking, son, but life is built on wishes. And you gotta just keep plugging away at them. You can't give up. And we can't let the mistakes jeopardize the dream.
Well, he has a dream of his own. But when he talked about the financial burden, it must be quite an operation for each single customer to set up an entirely new life, an entirely new accommodation, new career, new everything.
Just remember, son, we got to keep plugging away at the dream. The mistakes teach us how. It wasn't wasted. Remember that.
We have to keep plugging away. They're just changing skins like nothing until before they can even accommodate to the idea.
Blessed shalt thou be coming in, and blessed shalt thou be in going out. And he said, thou canst not see my face.
I do suppose his skin is now going to be used for someone else. Someone else is going to be Rock Hudson and Tony Wilson.
He that loveth life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto life.
Very effective cutting. Very effective. It's troubling to see this.
Released for cadaver use last night. CPS number 722. Disposition, death by automobile accident caused by cerebral hemorrhage.
Right. Acid etch.
Yes, sir.
They just recycle, well, not recycle, but they so effortlessly come up with these modes of death, ways of death, and they're basically recycling skin. Oh, they're going in. He didn't even have a chance to undo what he just did, or his decision, or to get a sponsor. Wow. Wow. Quite. Well, let's see. This would probably fit into the genre of thriller, horror, sci-fi. Thriller, horror, sci-fi. More thriller, I would say. But extremely grounded in its filmmaking. Very, very well made. Everything is so deliberate in its pacing and its cutting and its editing. It's experimental, but yet accessible. Such a good film, such a provocative film. It's quite dour, but at the same time, sort of hopeful. Hopeful to those that are well prepared. This seems like a film that I know. I've not watched it, but it stars Ryan Reynolds and Ben Kingsley. If you know the film, I think this either might be a remake or inspired by, but I can see how this would tend more towards the line of a sci-fi film, and then you could sort of wrap it around with an action thriller, if you will. But this film is done really well. It's presented really well. The score by Jerry Goldsmith is fantastic. It just brings about the right tones of it all. There's this certain point where Arthur sort of gets a little bit too ahead of himself after the stomping of the grapes, and the neighbors, where sort of this liberation of acceptance goes into, this case might not be working, and even Nora, she all the hard work she put into as an employee. Who knows whether the whole thing about the stomping of the grapes, whether that was again orchestrated to sort of liberate him and to open him up. Well, physically, even, the whole aspect where he was derobed and thrown into this thing where he literally sort of is open to the world for the first time, and sort of goes out of this cocoon of hiding, and his identity is sort of revealed to a group of people who do the same. It's a very thought-provoking film, but again, so interesting. I feel like I want to return to it the following year, and really high concept but accessible, enjoyable, really good photography. By James Wong, if I'm not mistaken. That was the cinematographer. Yeah, I'm at a loss for words. It's really, really interesting. I was glad we were able to watch this together. I hope you enjoyed it. And it is a film that I don't suppose a lot of people would have watched on this line of genre YouTubing, but nevertheless, everybody's very accommodating to sort of films that have not been watched, and either watching it or having already watched it. You guys have a very wide variety of film. You guys are awesome, basically, was what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I'll be interested to read if you guys have watched the film, if you guys have some stuff that that can correct me or add more onto it. I'll be interested to read upon it. But yeah, until the next film, stay safe, enjoy your life, your current life. You don't need anything else. You don't need to change. You just need to continue to work on yourself and get better. Everybody has the potential of it, for it. But until next time, take care, and arrivederci. What's up, you cinephiles? Thank you very much for making it to the very end. Me and Big Willie don't take that for granted. We really appreciate you. Now, if you'd like to show your support to us, you know what you can do up here. You can smash that button, really just smash it. And if you would like to check out some more content, they're all curated by days up over here and playlists. So, you know what? We hope you're having a great day. Don't crumble, and just continue to smile and be a good bastion of cinema.